I'm Judy. Welcome to my craft studio today. Let me tell you about this project I'm working on today. I just found out recently about artist trading cards, or ATCs. Apparently they've been around for a really long time, and it's where artists or crafters design a piece of art on a small 2.5 by 3.5 piece of paper or cardstock or cardboard or a piece of wood. And a lot of times they'll make a series or a set of them, like one of 10 or one of 3. And these group of artists get together and they trade these amongst themselves. They don't sell them, they just trade them. And it sounds like it's such a captivating, interesting idea. I wanted to find out a little bit more. So I've been watching a few videos, reading about it over the last couple of weeks, and I decided to dive in today and make some artist trading cards, or ATCs. So I made my first 3, and let me show you these. They came out really cute. And I labeled these at the top, 1, 2, and 3. And this card is 3.5 by 2.5. And you just kind of design whatever kind of mood you feel in. And I kind of got the impression that you make them on the same theme, your set. And so I made I'm going to be making a set of 6. I made the first 3 already. Let me tell you about what I have here. This cardboard that these are on are recycled cardboard left over from packaging from my job. And I take this cardboard and I bring it home and I make craft projects out of it. And that's what this cardboard here is made out of. And here's a piece down here. And so I cut this cardboard down to 3.5 by 2.5, rounded to corners. You don't have to round to corners, but I kind of like that look, and so I went ahead and did that. It's white on one side, brown on the other. On this side, I'll be stamping. This stamp here says Artist Trading Cards. So with these ATCs, the people that you trade with like you to label the back of the card. Tell who you are, the date you did it, the title of your art, the number, how many there are in this particular set. And I found this set of stamps on Temu, ATC's information on the back, and that's kind of what this looks like here. And there's 4 different ones to choose from. So it's easy to just go ahead and stamp it, or you can make labels, or you can write it by hand. Whatever's easiest for you, whatever fits your style. On the top of these cards, I have this music book, and this is sheet music that I had when I was a teenager. And I did play the trumpet when I was a teenager, and I still do occasionally. But I also dabbled in a little bit of playing the trombone. And this is a trombone book for church. So this has a bunch of worship songs in here. It was shredding and falling apart, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I don't really play the trombone anymore. I still have it. My oldest son did play it when he was in grade school, and his trombone's really old. It was old when I had it as a teenager, even older now, so this trombone's probably, I don't know, like 80 years old. But it still plays really good, except I just can't play it good. Well, anyway, so I got the sheet music, I decided to put it to use, and I just love how this looks, and all this is in bass clef, and it just looks so interesting. And so I decided to put this in some projects. So you'll see this off and on. And so that's what I used today to cover my cards. You put that over here, and so you'll see it on the 3 cards that I did already. So I just used a glue stick and went over the top of the card and laid the sheet music on top of it, then cut it around. And I pressed it down really flat and let it dry for a while. So those are my 3 cards coming out. I cut 12 of these 3.5 by 2.5 cards out to begin with, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And so I got a set of 6 here to work on another project. This particular set will just have 6. The first 3 that I did, 1, 2, and 3, have this theme of green and some browns. And my other 3 cards I'm going to use blue and browns on. So it will look very similar, but just a little bit different, so it'll still be in the same set. These little birds here, I created these on AI yesterday. And I just like cute, whimsical little things. So this is what I was able to create off of that. And I think those turned out really adorable. And so I sent them over to Canva. I did some post-processing on them. Sent them over to the Cricut Design Space, separated them out. And I cut them on the Cricut with a print and cut feature. After that got done printing, I put some clear laminate over top. This is a sparkle one, and this is just a holographic plain one here. And I think this one's called a starburst maybe on that one. So then I had another layer of cardboard that's on the back of these, so they're a little bit thicker, and so they kind of stand up off the paper a little bit. The ones we're going to be working on today are this 3 More Birds. This little guy's a repeat. I like him. And these I sprayed with Rust-Oleum Glossy Frosted Gloss. And I just love using that Rust-Oleum Frosted Gloss. It just gives a little shine to the paper. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. And so these turned out cute with that little frosted on them. So that's going to go on these 3 cards. Now these little sentiments here at the bottom, I just got on a Word document, typed out some affirmation words, and then I sent those over to Canva and did a font on them that I liked and put a background on. The first one I just did a color background, and then on the set that it's coming up, I put like a little flower design in the background. But those turned out very nice. So I just printed that out on a cardstock, and I'm going to be putting that on strips to layer it up to give a little bit more dimension. Also on these cards you can see that after I put the music sheet on, got my stamps out, and I stamped a brown flower in the background, and then I got some more stamps and did some green leaves and a tree stem here and a little flourish here at the top, putting embossing powder on that green part and heat embossed it. And then once that was all finished, went ahead and got my Mod Podge and a little bit of glitter, golden orange glitter, and just kind of went over the corners and the bottoms of each of these cards. Then after that I went ahead and glued all my pieces on, glued the cinnamon on, glued the bird on, and also put a textured paste on here, a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and so we'll do a 4, 5, and 6 on here today. And this is homemade textured paste that I made out of baby powder and white acrylic paint, and that was pretty easy to do. Then once that was dry, I was able to go in here and I added some rivets to various places on here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have some clear rhinestones mixed in here also, and a rivet at the top. That way I can hang it from my little key ring here. And I think this turned out pretty good. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention I also inked the edges around all these cards. That gives it more added dimension. So it sounds like when you make these ATCs, these artist trading cards, they want you to use all kinds of mixed media, just whatever you have on hand, and just kind of put on here and put a very interesting card. They don't have to be really elaborate, they can be very simple. So let's go ahead and put the last 3 together. Okay, let's stamp up this last one. Okay, and while we have this out, let's go ahead and stamp the front of these cards. Just gonna go ahead and put that right in there, same spot. Alright, to give it extra dimension, I'm going to be putting kind of a background stamp on here of a lighter brown, a vintage photo brown, and then I'll put the blue on top of it. Put some blue on top of that. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is ink up around the edges. This just gives it a lot more visual interest. Gives a little aged look on it also. Not that I'm going for that, but I do like the visual interest that it gives. Noisy cat in here right now, so if you hear something over here to the side, it's my kitty cat. He's 11 years old. His name is Turbo, and he wants outside. But it's dark out there, and not necessarily the safest time for him right now. But he usually likes to tell me about it when he is not pleased about something. So we'll probably hear more from him shortly here. Okay, what we got done so far is we got a stamped on the back. We have the music sheet on here. We have the stamping of the brown and the stamping of the blue with embossing also of the blue. You can see that or not, but it gives it a nice, put some Mod Podge in here. I have some blue extra fine glitter, and then I have a assortment of different glitters here, and we're going to go with a little bit of gold kind of mixed together here. I can always find ways to usually put glitter on something. Alright, I'm just going to stir that up a little bit. So the Mod Podge helps the glitter stay on the card, because we don't like glitter that comes off and gets all over the place. So this will help greatly with that. I notice it works much better than regular glue. So what I'm going to do is just kind of spread across the bottom a little bit. I always like a little bit of shine on most of my projects. See the difference that's made already? A little bit of glitter and shine on there. And this one's just begging for a little glitter. So I'll let that dry, and then we'll get the texture paste and put our numbers at the top. So we'll be back in a little bit after this dries. Here's some leftover texture paste I made earlier. I made this out of baby powder and acrylic paint. About a tablespoon of each, and I mixed it up really well so it forms a really stiff paste. And you can see it doesn't fall off the knife at all. It will stick to the paper and it'll form a nice texture layer. And it really smells like baby powder in here. So I'm using this tiny little stencil. You can see where I marked off the 3 earlier. Let me get a couple of these out of the way. So I taped off the above and below the numbers for the earlier projects. And I'm just going to go ahead and isolate the number 4 here and kind of continue on. And I've been putting these up in the upper corner of the card spot. And I'm just going to hold this tight while I put a little paste on a small spatula. And just smear that on. Use a little number 4 there. And move it down to number 5. You can hear that cat here beside me. That is Sunday, like the ice cream. She thinks she's hungry. She thinks she's hungry all the time. There's number 5. And for the last one, number 6. Now you don't have to label the front of your trading cards. I just thought it was kind of a cool idea to do it with some texture paste. While the texture paste is drying, let's go ahead and splatter some gold paint on here. And I just have this liquid gold splatter paint. And it doesn't take very much. These cards are very, very small. I'm just going to wipe this brush right on the dropper there. If you can see it or not, but there's gold splatters scattered on there. You can see the number 4 of the texture paint. Alright, let's set these aside to dry for a bit. Alright, so let's go ahead and attach these sentiments and these cute little birds on these ATC cards. And I'm just going to kind of look and see where I'm going to place these. They look pretty good right about there. I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these down. Yeah, these ATC cards are fun, cute, easy projects. Get to use all kinds of mixed media. Try out all kinds of things you want to try that might not have maybe worked with one of your other projects, but definitely work with this. And they're raised up on that extra piece of cardstock. Gives them a lot of extra dimension. This definitely becomes the focal point of these cards. Alright, so next thing to put on here is eyelet and the rivets. I'm going to go ahead and mark where the eyelets go at the top. So half of 2 1/2 is 1 1/4, so I'll mark this with a pencil. Now on the previous cards, I have rivets on the sentiment on a couple of these, and then down the side on another. Probably do that again on these. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the eyelets and the rivets in, and I'll be right back. Alright, last thing to do is add a few rhinestones on here. That will complete the set. So I'm just going to do a little dab of glue where I'm going to put these rhinestones. I like to do odd numbers of groups, so I'm going to put 3 down here. call these completed. Here's this little guy, and he's really cute. And here's number 5. And number 4. Yeah, when something can put a smile on your face, it's definitely worth doing. These turned out so cute. Alright, just remember to subscribe and like this video. Let's get to crafting.